Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Political Job Interview, where I interview candidates running for election. I'm Vincenzo Calla, the host, and today I take on the role as the boss, giving a job interview to today's candidate, Teo Simmons. Teo is running for Ottawa City Council as a candidate for Ward 3, Barrhaven West. Thank you, Teo, for your time, and thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Vincenzo. I'm glad to be here, and I hope I do well in this interview.
Well, it's great to have you here today, and without further ado, let's get this job interview started. With any good job interview, I'm going to start off with an opportunity to learn more about you. So, the first question is, can you tell me a bit about yourself and your story?
Yeah, so I'm first off, I'm a lawyer. So I run a law firm called Simmons Law. I started Simmons Law about 6 years ago, and what we do is we're a litigation law firm, and so we litigate business matters, we litigate estate matters, and we've got uh, a small but mighty team, and we're growing, and it's really exciting. And so I love what I do on the legal side. I also run a startup, and so the startup, what we do is we help Canadians from coast to coast to coast. We help Canadians get their legal documents through into court. And so whether that's a small claims matter or a divorce matter, one of the things that's an impediment is legal fees are expensive, one, and two, the process is really tough for regular people to kind of navigate. And so what we do is we automate that process. And so we automate the process and help people get those documents into court, get that moving. And then third, I run a charity, and so I'm always very open, excuse me, talking about my mother's influence in my life. So my mother was a single mother. She passed away, and so a number of years ago, to honor her, I started the Gwen Simmons Foundation. And what we do is we give bursaries to single mothers who are going through schooling. And so whether it's college or university, we give money to help out with diapers or books or bus passes, whatever it may be. And last but not least, I'm a father of two and a husband. And so I live out here at Barrhaven West. And so I'm running for council. So that's me in a nutshell.
So, on that note, um, why council? Why have you decided to run for Barrhaven Councillor? What made you decide to
Yeah,
run for this position?
yeah, good question. And so I've got two young children at home. My youngest is 7 months. A busy, successful legal practice, which I'm very happy at. And so the reason what made me want to run is one, I think municipal government's really important. This is the level of government that touches people the most, whether it's public transit, whether it's property taxes, garbage disposal, removal, you name it. This touches us, roads, and so that's the one part is I think it's very important. The other side is I think at City Hall we've been getting a few things wrong. We've made some missteps. I think LRT is the most topical example where we have a large city. Geographically, we're large. Population wise, we're growing. We're large, and we need to be interconnected. We need to get around. We need to get to school on time. We need to get to work on time. We need to get to our appointments. And obviously LRT is a very big ticket item. And so I see things like that LRT where we've missed the mark and we need to get it right. I look at things like public transit where we have bus cancellations. We have residents who rely on public transit, but you have buses that aren't showing up, or you have routes. I talk to a lot of students who go to Carleton or Algonquin, and it just takes too long to get to where they need to go when the bus arrives. And so I think there's big issues that affect us every day that we need to improve on, work towards, and I think I can help.
Well, definitely, especially transit is top of mind, especially Barrhaven, we're going to be getting the LRT hopefully roughly in the next 10 years or so. Well, hopefully have it running within the next 10 years. We don't know exactly even anymore, but it's around that. It'll be hopefully running by the next 10 years. And like you said, just getting those public transit working for people in Barrhaven. people who are going to post-secondary institutions, people who want to go work, and people who aren't just going to downtown, but people who are going to
Yes.
places more who are closer because it's somewhat easy to go downtown. You catch the bus at Fallowfield or Barrhaven Center, that sort of thing, and take the bus to Tunney's. But if you're, say, going to Carleton or Algonquin or working
Yes.
at another place within the
Yes.
another suburb, it's not easy to
Yeah.
get there. So
Yeah. Bayshore, Carling, the East End, if you want to go west to Canada, very tough and just it takes a long time. And so I think one of the jobs of this next council is to remedy that. We have a city, we have an obligation as councillors at City Hall. What can we do to alleviate that and to increase that interconnectivity? Because we've been talking a lot, and I know you're a Barrhaven resident, so you know about the roads and kind of getting in and out of Barrhaven, and that's important. Don't get me wrong, but we're never going to get that balance correct until we have the public transit side. We need to restore public confidence. I think that's the first part is restoring public confidence in public transit. And then the second part is getting people back on. But I think the job is now on the city to say, okay, well, we need to get our ducks in a row. We need to address these issues. We hear you, and here's what we're doing.
so let's take a bit of time now to talk about the job and what you bring to it. So the first question is, what experience do you bring to the job? What's some experience that's important to the job that you bring to it?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, one I think is my professional background, and so as I mentioned, I'm a lawyer. I've been practicing law since 2013. I've practiced in different areas. A number of areas pertain and directly relate to things that counselors do every day, and so I started at Justice Canada doing criminal law policy, and so that's how I came to Ottawa. I got a job with Justice Canada doing criminal law policy, working with then Minister of Justice Peter MacKay. And so one aspect that we talk about in our city, we're a growing city, in particular in Barrhaven. We know that there's a car theft, a property crime issue, and so that's something that I care about. But that's something that I also know and have some ideas on how we can address that. And so that comes from my professional background. And so that's on the legal side, the criminal law policy side. Today what I'm doing, I'm a litigator. So I make arguments, I do courtroom stuff, and I think that's important for a few reasons. One is I think it's really important to engage and to have healthy debate, to talk about ideas, to talk about issues, and that's what I do every day. And so door to door, we've been door knocking every day since May 2nd, and we're talking about bylaw enforcement. We're talking about bylaws that are unfair or enforced unfairly. I've been arguing bylaws in my legal practice. I've been doing that for a number of years. So, we talk about procurement. I've reviewed procurement, development plans, severance applications. None of this is foreign to me, and so I think that's important to be able to hit the ground on day one as a counselor. Um, in this next election, we're going to have 24 wards. Barrhaven West will be one, and I'm happy because we'll have two Barrhaven wards, well, Barrhaven East as well. But there's going to be 24 counselors all advocating for issues in their ward, and so I think it's important to have somebody who's already there, who's already ready, who's accustomed to the issues, to making arguments, and not afraid to make principled arguments. I think, one is we need to make principled arguments, but two, let's be professional about it. I think we saw in the last council a lot of infighting. I think a little bit of dysfunction. And so I think we can kind of disagree without being disagreeable. And so on my part, I'm used to kind of people attacking my ideas. And so I'm not a very sensitive person, but conversely, I'm also mindful of trying not to offend or trying not to arouse kind of any type of negative feelings, because that's not what we're doing. We're just trying to make the city better and trying to find common ground. And so I know this is a long answer, but that's kind of the professional background aspect. And then just really quickly, the other two things, which I think are really important, is it's not just professionalism. I think it's about kind of just real life understanding the issues of our residents. Barrhaven, this is a family community. I mean, that's what it is. We're full of families. We are a diverse community, and that's kind of just what I am. So I've got two young kids. I'm a father of two young kids. We've got different backgrounds. My wife is francophone from Northern Ontario, and so even within my household, I think there's a lot of diversity, which definitely matches Barrhaven, our community. And then last, I think on the charity is to me it's really important. Now this is not so much a Barrhaven issue, though there are kind of different demographics within Barrhaven, but we talk about homelessness, we talk about affordable housing. I think we do have an obligation as a city to make life better for our most vulnerable residents, and that's something that I care.
Well, definitely, and I wanted to continue on that point now. And in our ward, we don't have as big of a race as we see even in the other Barrhaven ward or some other wards. But I wanted to ask you this anyway: in what sets you apart from all the other candidates? So, if you were to choose something about yourself that would set you apart from the other candidates running in this ward, what is it? What would it be?
Yeah, so I think the first thing, and just I'll say at the outset, hats off to everybody, including the other candidates in this board who put their name forward. We all know how difficult this is, and so I'm not going to kind of make it any more difficult. So that's the first thing is hats off to them and their families because I know what that's like. But I think what sets me apart, and I mentioned it a bit, it is really being the only candidate that has that legal experience across the board. And so there are big issues in our ward, big issues, technical, legal issues. We have the Cedar Hill Golf Club, which is an issue at the northern part of our ward, where residents are very concerned about that. Stonebridge Golf Course, there was an agreement recently in the past few years, but these are things that are legal, that are important. And so for me, what sets me apart is having the background, having the understanding when it comes to really technical matters. That's one. And then mixing that with a lot of energy, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and just being approachable. I think for me, it's important that I'm accessible. I think it's important that um, people feel like they can reach out to me, that I'll make time for them, that I understand their problems. And so just to sum it up, what sets me apart, I think it's twofold. It's one, the experience, and it's two, it's just the passion, the enthusiasm I have for Barrhaven, for serving the community.
Part of serving your community as an elected official is serving those people who elect you, the people of our community. So, a few questions here about how you want to serve the people. So, the first one is, what is something that the people you'd like to serve, the people of Barrhaven West, what is something they need that you'd like to get done if elected?
Oh, I have to pick just one.
You can choose a couple, you can talk about a few.
Yeah, so I think there are a few really pressing issues that are affecting everyday lives. And so the one thing is stunt driving, speeding, reckless driving on our major roads as well as local roads. It's a noise issue, it's a nuisance issue, and so if you live in Barrhaven on the major streets, almost every night you'll likely be awoken by, or you'll notice that there's racing, street racing, and so it's noisy. It's also really dangerous. It's inherently dangerous, not just to the drivers themselves, but anybody else who shares the road. And so that's one thing we need to bring awareness to, and we need to work on cracking down on. The other thing, particularly in the southern part of the ward, so Half Moon Bay, Stonebridge, is road infrastructure. We are growing rapidly, and there are only a few ways in and out of Barrhaven, and those roads are not quite fit for the purpose anymore. And so, I see you smiling. I know that I'm referring to Green Bank Road. I'm also referring to access to the 416. And so, as far as serving and delivering for the people, it's advocating tirelessly for a construction schedule to move forward on Green Bank Road. It's my position that we can't continue to build development after development after development after development in Half Moon Bay without revitalizing the infrastructure.
Well, definitely. And there's just so much that needs to be said about infrastructure and getting in and out of Barrhaven. Um, Today, at the time of this filming, the new overpass opened up on the Strandherd Overpass. I went and took a drive there myself just to see it. And it's great, a great big project
Yeah.
that expand Strandherd both ways in the patch
Yep.
that needed expanding, and it's time to continue that throughout Barhaven.
Yep.
Expand down Green Bank, the alignment on the southern part, and just sort of expanding it in the northern part, and expanding the Lower Maryville Road area, expanding all the ways that are currently still only two ways out of 2 lanes instead of say 4 lanes, or even some of the infrastructure, just expanding that will be crucial and important to the continued growth of our mini city of about 100,000 people. It's
Yes,
it's crazy, and
exactly.
it's something that needs to be
Yeah.
done, no matter who the counselor is, whether it's yourself or somebody else, or even a general priority for the council to continue on those things. But let's continue on now to the final question, which is, what is one accomplishment that you have achieved that demonstrates why you'd be a good elected official if the people were to choose you?
Yeah. I mean, I think what comes to mind for me, and this is a bit personal, but I think it just kind of speaks to my makeup of what I'm about, what's important to me, is really my work with the charity in my mother's honor. And so, um, for me personally, that's a really big accomplishment because her passing was a bit sudden, and for me, it was kind of an outlet to deal with the grief. Um, and so it started, and then it's grown, and we've had so many donors who have been able to contribute. In September, we're going to give out 6 more bursaries, and so in a few weeks, excuse me, we're going to give out a few more bursaries. We've given out 16 to date, and so the reason why, for me, that's such a big accomplishment and something I think is important is it started really from kind of a sad place. It started from a place of grief, and then now we've been able to kind of spread a lot of happiness and make something positive out of it. And I think when we talk about kind of public service and public service and giving, for me, I think that's what it's about. Is it's not about self. It's not about kind of at least for me in that moment, kind of not kind of wallowing in what was a really tough place in my life, but trying to say, okay, what can I do that's positive about this? What can I do to kind of help others? And so to me, I think about the work with the charity and all the help we've had because it hasn't been just me. And I think about all we've been able to do, and I'm hopeful that on October 24th, you know, that service to community will take on a different magnitude, so that I can kind of work towards serving and helping other people. And so, I've got so much energy, so much excitement right now. Where we've been knocking on doors, and I'm proverbially running on fumes, but not really because I'm excited for what's happening right now in Barhaven. I'm excited for the kind of the response we've been getting, and looking forward to the next few steps in the campaign.
So thank you, Teo, so much for joining me today. That was a great and fantastic discussion that I'm sure the viewers have really enjoyed hearing what you had to offer. So as you mentioned before, Election Day is on the 24th of October, 2022. And if you liked hearing what Teo Simmons had to say and live in Ward 3, Barhaven West, you have the opportunity to vote for him on Election Day. Check with the local election officials for more details. To stay updated, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at VC Productions 25. Check out my website, vincenzocala.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, and choose to get notifications here on YouTube. The Political Job Interview is a VCala production. So until the next video, I'm Vincenzo Cala, signing out.